Hey guys, hope everybody is having a wonderful evening. Tonight I'm going to talk about anger, which is the topic that came up in our Bible study last Friday. And it was a really great Bible study. We had a great discussion. And so I just wanted to bring up some of those points to think that they might help you guys. First off, our Bible study, if you go to Camden, it's up for anybody. It's located at Teen Rev, or the living room next to Subway, in Camden after schools on Friday. So yeah, you should come check that out. It'd be really great. But yeah, so anger. First off, this is what I'm basing most of what I'm going to say off of. It's James chapter 1, verse 19 through 20. This man's anger does not bring about the righteousness that God desires. Man's anger. And through that, I want to say, is being angry wrong? Is it wrong to be angry? No, because that's one of our human emotions, right? And it's something that just comes natural to us. It's like a second nature. It's our emotion. It's how we react. It's how we act. And there was a verse in the Bible, Matthew 21, verse 13, and it's how Jesus got angry. It was whenever they had started selling things within God's holy place, within like the church, and they had just basically made a marketplace out of it. And Jesus came in and he like threw some stuff and everything else. Now a lot of people have a lot of really different interpretations on this. I'm just gonna hit some of the basic points because there's just a lot of different sayings. But yeah. So I said, how can we apply this to our lives? Well, what did Jesus do? Jesus is our example. How do we follow? If we naturally get angry, how do we get angry like he does? How can we use it in order to glorify God in that way? Well, if you look back on that situation, whenever Jesus did get angry, he backed it up with Scripture. And so it was something that he did it, but he had reason in order to do it. He didn't just get mad and start throwing things around just for the heck of it, just because he had a bad day or whatever. No, he had Scripture to back it up. And so that's how you know that it was according to God's will, because he backed it up by saying God's words. And through that, don't misuse God's words. I'm not saying that. That's something to be careful with. So, but yeah, I encourage you to look back on that verse, Matthew 21:13. So that way you know what I'm talking about right now. But yeah, there will always be a time. So why do we get angry? We always get angry. One thing that I realize whenever I get angry is whenever I'm hurt. Whenever I get hurt, then my result from that hurt is a secondary emotion. It becomes anger. And but yeah, in the world we're gonna be hurt. People aren't perfect, and they're gonna say some things that they don't realize are gonna hurt us. Maybe they do realize that doesn't matter, but there's gonna be hurt no matter where we go, and we're gonna be wronged. But when we respond differently to that hurt, whenever there's somebody that's purposefully coming out to try to hurt us, and if we respond differently instead of getting angry, well, that shows God's love, you know? Instead of just reacting the way that they would think that you would react. If you instead show them God's love, God's peace, God's patience. Because Jesus was wronged all the time. He had to die. He had to die for never doing anything wrong. Now, tell me, for somebody that does not get wronged, we barely even have reason to just get upset if we're wronged, because he was the ultimate person that got wronged, because he never even did anything wrong, and yet he died for us. I mean, that just shows the kind of love that he had for us, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. And so with that, we should be able to show an ounce of that type of love that was shown to us. And whenever we do that, people take notice. People take notice whenever you don't react in the same way that the world expects you to react. And that's a way to make a statement. That's a way to make a testimony to God, to the person that lives within inside you. That's the way to honor God, is by not reacting the way that people expect you to react. Now, is that going to be so easy? No, for sure not. For sure not. For sure not. And but God gives us the grace in order to respond out of the Spirit, not of man's anger, right? Because Jesus didn't respond out of man's anger. He didn't just get mad because he was upset, because he had a bad day, right? He got mad because they were defiling God's holy place. It was a holy place in order for people to walk on. They were defiling the place where people got closer to God. They were not allowing people to get close to God because they were using it for a marketplace. And yeah, I say that, and we make mistakes all the time. And yeah, it doesn't look so cold cut as, selling something at church. Or, don't take me literally. Please do not take me literally. But, yeah, it's not going to be literal. And so, going back to what I said before on James chapter 1, verse 19, man's anger does not bring about the righteousness that God desires. But instead, if we allow the Spirit to come through us, and if we can align what we're angry at with the things that we should be angry at, that's where we should be. That whenever we get angry, we need to step back and take a moment to just think, is this something that I should be getting angry at? Is this something worth getting angry at? Does this anger honor God? Right? So, and yeah, it's a challenge. It's an absolute challenge to respond out of love. But, God gives you more peace than giving it into anger. Yeah, like if you respond out of love, then you're gonna be a lot more peaceful about it than if you were to get angry, if you were to blow up. Then most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to regret doing that because you probably hurt somebody because you said things that you didn't mean, and just because you were hurt, now they're hurt, and it's just this downward spiral that instead, if you would have just responded out of love in the first place, God's going to give you more peace. He's going to honor you for that because you honored him. People are going to take notice. People are going to ask you why you reacted differently. It's a radical change. It's a radical change that could happen if only you would allow the Spirit to come within you whenever you feel like you're upset, you're frustrated, or that you're on the verge of becoming angry. Take that moment to step back, and you can realize how God can really just change your life. So,